Good morning. Once upon a time, my husband and I filmed half an hour, 45 minutes worth of footage on a beautiful snowy day, only to discover that I wasn't recording audio the whole time. If you don't believe me, you'll see that in the blooper reels at the end of the video.
Oops.
Yeah, oopsie doopsie. We talked about it and we have shown you so many things on the inside of our house with renovations and decorating, and we realized that apart from painting the outside of the house, we really haven't showed you a lot of what's going on out here. So we wanted to take this opportunity to take you on a walking tour of our acreage, what it looks like now, and what our plans are for the future. So come on along with us. So the first thing that we're gonna do here is take you on a long walk down our driveway. Our driveway is very long and windy. We love it because it does afford us privacy. Having that long driveway puts us way up on the top of the hill. However, there are some drawbacks.
I mean, you can see it as a positive or a negative, but taking the trash down and bringing the cans back up is quite a workout, which again, that's positive, really.
We have said before, you know, that we don't have neighbors now, that we moved out of a neighborhood, and not trying to be completely misleading, if I turn around here, I mean, there is a house here at the end of our property. There are obviously houses right across the street. We don't live in total isolation. We don't live in the middle of nowhere, but we don't have immediate next door neighbors, which works a lot better for us. As you can see, there are some cars going past there, and I know that some people would probably say he should either always be on a lead or that we should have an electric fence if we are gonna have him out here. But part of the reason why we moved where we moved is because we want him to have freedom as well. So we kind of see it as our responsibility to teach him his boundaries. And he's not a perfect dog. He is still an animal with instincts, but he's a good boy. Here, let's see if I can get him to cooperate. Arlo, can you sit? Sit. Show everybody that you sit and listen. Up, up. Sit.
Good boy.
Good boy. So a lot of times what we'll do when we're coming down here is we'll bring him down mostly to the end and then have him sit and just wait for us to come back. Not sure if you can see it, but there is a project that we did on the house that we never brought up and never mentioned, and I wanted to explain why that happened and why you've never heard about it, especially because our friend Becca showed up the other day and she was like, oh my gosh, like I didn't know you guys got your driveway paved. So to have the whole thing repaved would be ridiculously expensive. Like, what do you think?
30 or 40,000 at least, I would think.
Yeah, but we did pave from the street until you can see the separation up there.
It's a little over 200 feet.
Yeah, fifth or quarter of it maybe. The reason why we have not talked about that is because we are kind of the type of folks that if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. You have seen us give shout outs to our roofers, to the folks that we rented the dumpster from. If people have done a great job and we feel that they deserve a shout out, even if it's not something that we're gonna get rewarded for, we are very happy to give that. And it's not that the folks who did this did a poor job. Our driveway looks a heck of a lot better than it used to. We had ginormous potholes. It was really bad down here, super janky, and it looks 1,000,000% better than it did, but it's not perfect, and even more than that was just the way that it happened. We like to do our research so that we can make the best financial decisions for us, and the folks who put this pavement down, they showed up at our doorstep one day, and it was our fault. We're the ones who made the decision.
It seemed like a really good deal, and then it just kind of went downhill. We just misunderstandings and...
Yeah. We paid a really good price for what we got, so we can't really complain, but it was just the fact that we felt a little bit victimized in that situation, that they clearly were trying to rush us into a sale without really thinking about it. We bit. Yeah, at the end of the day.
Lesson learned.
Yep, lesson learned. At the end of the day, it is what it is. You notice the paved driveway in the footage and think to yourself, hey, I didn't know they did that. That is why we haven't talked about it. Whew. Okay, so we are about 3/4 of the way back up the driveway. So I wanted to show you the front view of our house. Our next big spring project is going to be the deck, or I guess it's a porch if it's on the front of the house. I don't know what differentiates a porch and a deck. And also the landscaping. You'll see that there are some weeds that are probably taller than me. We haven't touched anything out here.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see the whole driveway, but one of our goals is to plant a tree on either side of the driveway, like leading up along the driveway. I just love that look with a long driveway lined with trees. So that's one task that we'll probably try to hit in the springtime.
Some of our top runners right now are Eastern Redbuds or a form of apple, like a smaller apple variety.
We would like to have fruit trees and stuff down in this section as well at some point, so
Yeah.
yeah.
And then, as I mentioned, porch deck. It has the very cheap and standard lattice work, and it has a very busy railing. Our dreams for that in the spring are to take this down, bring it out about 6 feet so that we can really maximize the living space out here. We want a couch out here. We want a table out here. We want to be able to take advantage of that. So we're going to resurface that, take down the lattice work in the front, and maybe put some wood paneling instead. And then for the railing, we would like to do the modern cable minimalist railing because it's so distracting with all of those vertical lines right now. It really blocks the view. We want as little blocking that view as possible. So here is our garage. Behind the garage is a wide open meadow area, most of which is not our property. In front of our house, we probably have 2 acres or so. And then on this side of the property, it mostly follows the curvature of the driveway down to the road.
This is like one of our biggest selling points on the house is the view. It's just really pretty, especially in the morning when fog's like nestled in the valley there.
Yeah, you can see forever, especially in the winter time. The dry air keeps the air very clear. When it was hazy and humid and hot in the summertime, you couldn't see as far, but holy cow, you can see forever down there now. Bye everyone.
Bye.
Jonathan is heading back in. He was between calls and wanted just to take a few minutes so that he could be part of it. He was a part of the entire video yesterday. I guess that's what you get when you record without audio. Sometimes you have to go back and change the plan. Arlo, come. We do have a small fenced-in area in the back. Maybe at some point we're thinking a little deck around the pool, or maybe a little fire pit back there in that area. But the fenced-in area is mostly just nice, especially with having Arlo. Our kids are old enough and trustworthy enough that we let them come out and roam the pasture as long as they stay away from the road in the front. But for Arlo, if we are not out here with him and monitoring him, the fenced-in area has been a gift. We are planning to put some shrubbery, some trees back here just to help with the privacy when we are using the pool. Our neighbors are pretty few and far between. You can probably see some of them up here on the hill in the distance. We have lived here since the end of September, and we have never talked to any of our neighbors face to face without seeking out a visit with them, if that makes sense. Like, we've never talked to any of them just being outside and walking around because there's enough space between us. Over here, the former owner did have a small garden area. Again, we didn't do anything with it this season, so we do have some hopes and ambitions to have a garden. I'm gonna take you down our pasture. Of our 10 acres, I don't know, probably 7 or so are our pasture area, and they extend out this way from our house. I'm gonna continue to talk as I walk down here. Jonathan tries to get out here every day with Arlo over his lunch break, both to clear his own head, but also for Arlo to get him out, to get him some fresh air, to get him exercise. One thing that we have noticed is that when we did live in a neighborhood, Arlo did have his cousin dog Remy, he had a best friend dog Philly, and pretty much had dog play dates every day. It's just good for them. It's good for their mental health and it's good for their physical health as well. That has been a little bit of a struggle for us here. We have noticed maybe some cues that he's a little lonely. Just want to make sure that he is mentally happy and thriving. And while he loves it here and he loves to be able to come out off lead, which is something that he was not able to do at our prior home very often, we have been having some thoughts about perhaps adding a second dog, but shh, don't tell Jonathan that I am super on board with that plan yet. Arlo, come. Okay, this is what I'm talking about here. We open the door for him to come in. He doesn't want to come in, he wants you to come out. Do you want somebody to play with? Say cheese, you can't play with me, I'm sure, aren't I? You can see the house in the distance there. We are at this point probably about halfway to 2/3 of the way down the pasture. A fun history that we learned about our property is that if you are at all familiar with the brand Hanover Foods, it turns out that our property used to be owned by Hanover Foods and was used to grow corn and beans. We have hopes to bring this land back to life and utilize it for more than grass for somebody else's animals. We would like to be able to use it for us. I am coming up here on the perimeter. If you look behind me, there's actually an Amish farm there, which is really cool. Just that we have these crossing of cultures and breaking down of barriers. And I love that there are people that live near us who are different than us. It's a good learning experience for our kids. We've seen them go by in their horse and buggy a few times. They have some goats and cows. We would like to start with chickens and pigs, as we mentioned in our last video. So we are thinking that we will keep them close to the house. We obviously want our coop to be close by so that we can gather eggs in the mornings. And for the pigs, they don't need a ton of, space or acreage to roam. So just for the convenience of feeding them and giving them water, we will also be keeping them on the other end, hi buddy, on the other end of the pasture near our house. We have a train that goes in the distance that you can hear. And then Arlo likes to stand at the corner of the property here and watch the cows or the goats at our neighbor's farm, but he's a good boy. That's a good boy. You go and stay with mommy. Final stretch of the walk around our property. See, we have the woods over here. We've got some trees over here. We have very few trees on our property that belong to us. Most of them do belong to the neighboring properties. They are still nice because they provide for privacy. As Jonathan mentioned, we would like to have some fruit trees and we would like to plant some trees along the driveway. So those will be coming for us. But for now, we have mostly a blank canvas with which to work on. We're making our way back up to the house. We did get the kids' trampoline back in place, so Annie especially is happy about that. But that will be something that they will be able to utilize in the months and years to come. When we moved in here, we thought that there was only one small blueberry bush. I may have noted that before, but we actually found that there are some rows of berries out here. There was a row of raspberries and a row of blueberry bushes. We may relocate those, but they gave us a lot of berries, so that was really cool. Where Arlo is sniffing right now was the site of the former chicken coop, and probably similar to the location where we will put the new one. This unkempt building here, we have a coal furnace inside that has a hopper that utilizes rice coal. We have not ventured into that yet this season, even though it would be probably less expensive than the propane that we are currently using. But we want to make sure that it is maintained and safe and that we know what we're doing before we get into that. And right now we just don't feel that we have any of those things covered to safely use it. So holding off for the time being. We may use it later this season, or we may wait until next year, and that's okay. That is where the prior owner kept the rice coal. We would like to give that a little bit of a facelift. It's kind of unsightly and not really matching the rest of the vibe of the house, but it's okay. It's just storage. This entrance here is our basement entrance. That is Jonathan's lair, where his very fancy office is. He just has a concrete floor down there and cinder blocks on the wall, but works for now, and we are hoping to give him a finished space sooner than later. I hope that you enjoyed coming along with me for a walking tour of the outside of our property. It is a little barren and a little quiet out here, but that's part of the beauty and part of the process, is that there's so much potential and so many things to come. If I have learned nothing else in taking the chance and moving here, it is that good things take a lot of time. There are so many things that we would love to do with this property, and there are so many ways that we can see it coming to life when we close our eyes and imagine it, but a lot of those things are part of a longer and more beautiful process. So I am here for it, I'm ready for it, and I am excited to be a part of it with the people that I love most. It would be really fitting that there are bluebirds perched on the tree right behind the camera right now. Bluebirds are my absolute favorite, and this house never has a shortage of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I currently see 6 of them. I don't think you're gonna be able to see them because they're teeny tiny, but they're up in this tree and just watching me. Another good sign of all the awesome things to come here. Thank you so much for being a part of this ride. Thanks for walking along with me today. My hand is freezing and about ready to fall off, so I am gonna head inside and warm up and do some school with the kids. We will see you next week for a Christmas episode, and we hope that you have a great week. Oh, got a loud tractor or something. I'm sorry for the bad angle. One of our cars is a teeny tiny ancient little Toyota Yaris. One time I forgot to avoid the pothole and thought that I was going to die because the car shook that badly.
Get sucked in.
Yeah, vortex. Looks like I have a visitor. What's up, dude? But yeah, so that, oh my, he's excited. I'm getting, he's going crazy. What do you think? Is that a deck or a porch?
I think it's a deck. I think a porch is a lot smaller, especially when we build it out.
Right.
It's gonna be bigger.
I say deck all the time, and then people will say to me, do you mean your porch? And I'm like, no, I mean,
you know, a gator or side-by-side or anything.
That kitty cat's down here again at the same
and
spot.
there's a cat down here that Arlo, I think,